Hello, welcome back to the Fred in the Shed channel, and this is the How Low Can We Go radio series, where we're looking at very cheap little pocket radios from China. And today we're looking at the Kaide KK555 AM FM radio. So no multi-bander here, just a plain and simple AM FM radio, but where it differs from the other radios that we've looked at is that it does have a very small tiny LCD digital display. As you've come to expect now, we have the obligatory Chinese instructions, and other than the title on the front, absolutely no English in these instructions at all. So unfortunately, all those little buttons on the radio, well, you just have to sort of work them out yourself. Bit of a shame, but that's what happens with a lot of these Chinese radios, so we'll dismiss those. Also in the packet, you do get a very, very cheap and nasty looking pair of headphones, but I'd recommend that you use your own, so we'll dismiss those as well. So that leaves the radio itself, and you know, it's not a bad looking unit, to be honest. It's very, very small, maybe just a little bit bigger than the size of a kitchen box of matches. Not too bad at all, really. Got a little tuning control there on the right. It's nice to see an actual manual tuning control, other than an actual up and down sort of digital control, which you might have got with an actual radio with an LCD display. And below that here we have sort of got a volume control. Probably not the best place to have put it. I think another rotary dial may have actually helped in the side. Got a stainless steel, I think it's stainless steel anyway, but it's pretty decent sort of like telescopic antenna, but once again it doesn't actually rotate 360 degrees or anything, it's just straight up and straight down. So we'll pop some batteries in this and hopefully see that it works. And here we go, and straight away the clock comes on. I'm not going to bother to actually sort of set that, but it does have an alarm which we'll look at later. But yeah, okay, it does feel a bit sort of cheap and plasticky, but overall it's actually quite good, you know, reasonably impressed. This radio come in at just under £5 UK, which is probably around about sort of 7 to 8 US dollars. So it's not really a great deal of money. And yeah, you seem to get sort of quite a nice pocket-sized little radio. It does have a little 3.5mm headphone jack on the left side, which does actually give you stereo in FM. And I think that's what we'll do for now. I think we'll now crack on into FM and we'll get this thing going and give it a test. So the first thing you notice is that the actual tuning dial is incredibly sensitive. It's very easy to actually scan past your stations.
You might be interested. Isaac Addison is not only my host of the Fishing Boat, he was the godfather of the Northumbrian smuggling cabal, and he was a pretty...
So the radio is picking up some of the actual stronger broadcasting stations, but it is unfortunately going past a lot of the sort of slightly weaker stations that I would have expected it to have picked up. So I think in conclusion, yeah, it's not too bad on FM, but it did unfortunately miss a lot of those weaker stations. So for local and strong stations it's fine, but not exactly a very sensitive tuner. Okay, let's now swap on to medium wave and see how it copes with that.
and he's very accomplished. So I think he's a big fan favourite in the States, and I think it's great that he's actually on suspects of domestic violence, I think, than we are. Social issues. The Nordic countries are streets ahead of the rest of Europe. And I think one statistic which is quite interesting is that across the EU, the three countries...
So once again, that tuning dial is incredibly actual sensitive. They could have sort of done with a kind of a lot more range of the actual dial itself. But yeah, it's picking up, the stronger medium wave stations fine, and the actual audio quality is pretty good for such a small speaker.
Done. In fact, the lowest level of reporting in the EU is in fact Poland. Britain is fifth, which isn't too bad, but we're not by any means the best in the EU.
Yeah, I think the radio did fairly well there on medium wave. Everything come across kind of clear and sharp. Now there's one feature that I want to check, and that's the alarm function. So I'm interested to see what actually happens when that triggers. And there you go. That's it. No bleep or anything. It just basically switches the radio on, and it just tends to turn it on to FM. So if you haven't actually got it tuned into a radio signal, you're just going to get static. So, well, maybe that's not actually going to wake you up in the morning. So I think in conclusion, it's not a bad little radio really for the money. Yeah, okay, hasn't got shortwave, it's not a multi-band radio, it's just AM FM, but it's actually quite honest, and it actually does AM FM quite well. The sound quality is acceptable. You're not going to listen to the top 40 on this radio, but just for checking your local news and find out how your team got on at the weekend, it's absolutely fine. Now, quite amazingly, I've managed to find an even cheaper radio, an actual AM FM model that comes in at under £2.50, so that review will be coming up next. If you like this kind of thing, well, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. But as for now, I'd like to say, as always, thanks for watching, and bye bye.